We'll start with the operating elements of MIS. Yesterday we covered the major, I think we covered the major concepts, right? So today we'll start with the operating elements, okay? Please write present in the chat box, everybody, for the attendance. A management information system is made up of 5 major components. Namely, I think we have already discussed these, but in the second unit also we have operating elements. So the components are also known as the operating elements of MIS, okay? Namely, people, business procedures or processes, data, hardware and software, okay? All these components must work together to achieve the business objects. So these are very self-explanatory. We'll quickly go through them. So starting with people, these are the users who use the information system to record the day-to-day business transactions. The users are usually qualified professionals such as accountants, human resource managers, etc. The ICT department or the computer department, you can say, usually has the support staff who ensures that the system is running properly, okay? So the people is the person who is using the MIS. Moving on, next is business procedures. These are agreed upon business practices or best practices that guide the users and all other components on how to work efficiently. Business procedures are developed by people, that is users or consultants, okay? So procedures would be maybe probably a set of instructions on how you have to use the system, okay? That is business procedures. Next we have data. So data is the recorded information, the day-to-day business transaction, the recorded day-to-day business transaction. For a bank, data is collected from activities such as deposits, withdrawals, etc. Okay. Then moving on, hardware. Hardware everybody understands because you may have studied computers in some or the class. So hardware is the physical components of a computer. Hardware is made up of computers, printers, networking devices, etc. The hardware provides the computing power for processing data. It also provides networking and printing capabilities. The hardware speeds up the processing of data into information. Okay. Then software. Software is the set of instructions that help the hardware to run. So the software is broken down into 2 major categories. We have discussed this. There's a system software and an application software. So moving on to decision making. Now this is an important topic. Decision making and MIS. Okay. First we'll see what decision making is. Okay. So decision making is a cognitive process that results in the selection of a course of action among several alternative scenarios. Okay, so what does cognitive mean? Connected with the processes or of understanding. So cognitive may explain that how you can understand or judge the decision making or judge the selection of the outcomes or course of action. So decision making is you can say a mental process, okay? A mental process where most of the activities happen in the mind, not physically, okay? So we select a course of action which is the best course of action among several alternative scenarios. Okay, so decision making would be any decision in life also, there are so many decisions, like when you get up in the morning and you have to get ready to go to college, you have to decide what to wear, when to leave, what to eat, okay, what are the books that I have to take with me. All these involve decision making. Okay, decision making is a daily activity for any human being. There is no exception about that. When it comes to business organizations, decision making is a habit and a process as well. Okay, so every person in their life takes a lot of decisions, and similarly in every business organization also there are. Okay, then effective and successful decisions result in profits, while unsuccessful ones cause losses. Therefore, corporate decision making is the most critical process in any organization. Okay, so when in life we take some decisions, it can be, some of them can be changed or can be reversed, but some decisions cannot be reversed. Okay, they are crucial decisions, and such decisions are also taken in a corporate body or in an organization. These decisions, for example, launching a new product, when once we have launched the product, there is no taking it back. Okay, if we try to take the product back, it causes the organization to suffer a huge loss. Okay, then in a decision making process we choose one course of action. Okay, in a decision making process we choose one course of action from a few possible alternatives. Okay, for example, getting ready for a party, what is the we will discuss when we study the process, that what are the steps involved. So if I want to get ready for a party, obviously I will have some 4-5 dresses to choose from. Okay, then in the process of decision making we may use many tools, techniques and perceptions. In addition, we may make our own private decisions or may prefer a collective decision. Okay, so there may be private decisions that are taken which do not involve others. Okay, I myself alone take the decision, and there are decisions that involve others as well. It may be family members, it may be colleagues. Okay, usually decision making is hard. Majority of corporate decisions involve some level of dissatisfaction or conflict with another party. Okay, so moving on, this was the definition or maybe the meaning explanation, you can say, for decision making. Moving on to decision making process. What is decision making process? What are the steps that are involved in decision making process? Okay, so identification, first step is identification of the purpose of the decision. So why do you need to take the decision? That is the very first and foremost thing to do. Okay, identification for the purpose, the reason why you have to take the decision, or it may also be referred to as identification of the problem. Okay, second, information gathering, then principles for judging the alternatives, then brainstorming and analyze the different choices, evaluation of alternatives, select the best alternative, execute the decision and evaluate the result. So these are the steps involved in the decision making process. We will discuss each step in detail now. Okay, this is also a model for decision making and MIS. How MIS helps us in decision making. From the left we see that there are data floods. Data flood means a huge amount of data is entering the MIS process. There are various processes going on within the MIS. Okay, once the data enters the MIS and it is processed, it turns into information. Okay, this information then flows to the user processes. Okay, the user is sent or shown this information, and he or she, user would be the manager or the person who analyzes the data or reads the analysis that is done by the MIS, and then takes the decision based on this information. Okay, is this diagram clear to everybody? Okay, good. All right. So now we start with the steps. Okay. So step 1 was identification of the purpose of the decision. In this step, the problem is thoroughly analyzed. There are a couple of questions one should ask when it comes to identifying the purpose of the decision. What are the questions? So to identify the purpose or the problem, we need to ask these questions. What exactly is the problem? Okay, so as we said, identifying the problem. So what exactly is the problem? Second, why the problem should be solved. Okay, what is the reason and what issues is it causing the problem? What are the issues that the problem is causing us? Then, who are the affected parties of the problem? Okay, so the problem, how much is it impacting and who is it impacting? Okay, and finally, does the problem have a deadline or a specific timeline? Okay, means till when it should be solved. Is it an urgent decision that has to be taken, or is it an urgent problem that has to be solved urgently right now or maybe later? Okay, next, second step. So here these questions would tell me what is the actual problem. Once I identify the problem, then I gather the information relating to the problem. A problem of an organization will have many stakeholders. In addition, there can be dozens of factors involved and affected by the problem. In the process of solving the problem, you will have to gather as much information related to the factors and stakeholders involved in the problem. Stakeholders and factors means the things and people that are causing that problem, okay, or that will be affected by the problem. For the purpose of information gathering, tools such as check sheets can be effectively used. Now, check sheets mean sort of a checklist where you create a list on what are the things that need to be done in order to analyze the problem or to solve the problem. Okay, and one by one we keep on checking it so that as we move on to solving the problem. So information gathering refers to gathering all the information that we need in order to solve the problem. Next is principles for judging the alternatives. In this step, the baseline criteria for judging the alternative should be set up. Now, what are the alternatives? First of all, alternative refers to when we are taking a decision or when we are talking about solving a problem. We try to develop some choices or some possible solutions to the problem. Okay, once we have developed the possible solutions, or the possible alternatives, these alternatives have to be judged. Okay, I have to analyze or I have to think about what are the possible choices that I have in order to solve the problem. Okay, all right. So when it comes to defining the criteria, organizational goals as well as the corporate culture should be taken into consideration. Okay, means when we are developing the solutions or alternatives, we have to keep in mind what are the objectives that we want to achieve through this decision or through this solution. As an example, profit is one of the main concerns in every decision making process. Companies usually do not make decisions that reduce profits, okay, unless it is an exceptional case. Likewise, baseline principles should be identified relating to the problem in mind, okay. So here we have to develop the alternatives or find out the alternatives choices which help us solve the problem and achieve the objective. Then next step is brainstorming and analyze the choices. Now what does brainstorming mean? I explained, I think, in the last class. What does brainstorming mean? Can anybody tell me what brainstorming means? For this purpose, you can make use of cause and effect diagrams and Pareto chart tools. You do not need to concern these tools because these are not part of the syllabus. Cause and effect diagram helps you to identify all possible causes of the problem. Now here we are trying to analyze or study the problem. What was the reason that caused the problem? Because unless and until you find out the reason, you will not be able to solve the problem. Okay. Next, moving on. Fifth step is evaluation of alternatives. So evaluation of alternatives means once we have developed the alternatives after brainstorming and everything, we know what are the alternative choices that we have. So we evaluate them, which one is best suited and which one is not. Use your judgment principles and decision making criteria to evaluate each alternative. In this step, experience and effectiveness of the judgment principle comes into play. You need to compare each alternative for their positives and negatives. Okay, so we evaluate each decision or we evaluate each alternative solution and find out which will have what positive effects and what are the negative effects, the pros and cons. Okay. Next, once we have evaluated the decisions, the alternatives, we select the best alternative. Okay, so when we analyze or evaluate, we know what are the positive points and what are the negative points of each of the alternative. Obviously, the point that has or the solution that has the most number of positive effects will be selected, the best alternative. Once you go through from step 1 to 5, this step is easy. In addition, with the selection of the best alternative is an informed decision since you have already followed a methodology to derive and select the best alternative. Okay, then finally we execute the decision. Once we have selected the best alternative, that is the decision. Okay, and when we select the best alternative, we then put it into action. So that is execution of the decision. And once we have executed, or you can say implement the decision, it does not stop there. Okay, after implementing the decision also, the manager needs to take care or analyze or evaluate what is the result of that decision that he or she has taken. Okay, what will be the effect of it? Is it doing fine, or is it solving the problem, or is it causing more problems? Okay, so it is also known as a follow-up. Okay, so today we'll stop here.